What, so fast? Did you really think that the billionaires want to share that platform with the employees? The party is coming to an end. I did a video the other day about the joys of working from home remotely and the expectation that this new arrangement would become permanent as people flee the city to live in the suburbs so that they could mix nature with work. However, it's fast becoming a fleeting dream. It turns out that many companies are reopening and recalling the staff back into the office. The fairy tale is coming to an end. In my last video, I mentioned that a company called Global Workplace Analytics did a research on 3,000 employees. They gathered information between March 30th and April 24th. They said that 73% of the people currently working from home would like to make this arrangement permanent. I listed 13 reasons why people prefer to work from home. Of course, that list was not an exhaustive one, but it does give an indication of how people benefit when they work remotely. A friend of mine who enjoyed working from home and also inspired me to make this video reached out to me to let me know that her office has reopened and has called her back to work in the city. She said that based on her role, she really does not have to go into the office. However, the company decided to bring the entire staff back to the office. Why, one may ask? For whatever reason, it is really of no benefit to the employee. Either they own the building, or they're still paying a lease, or they just like to see people working so that they can keep an eye on them. No, I'm not making this up. I'm going to give the sources later on in this video. Now, let's get back to my friend. She is no longer saving money on transportation because she has to travel back and forth 5 days a week to the office. Also, she used to save on food because she was cooking her breakfast, lunch, and dinner at home. You can't do that when you're working at an office. She used to report to work at 8:30 a.m. Now she has to report to work at 6 a.m. So for those who fled the city to the suburbs, that fairy tale is over. They have to report to the office. The company is also sticking to the CDC guidelines, where they are advised to stagger shifts, start times, and break times. This is to reduce the number of employees in common areas. Even the elevators are affected by the change. The elevator that normally carries 10 people should now only carry 4 people. That is why they don't want too many people working in the office at the same time. Anyway, at the end of her shift, she has to immediately vacate the building so that the next person can start their shift for the next 8 hours until 10 p.m. at night. Additionally, some departments have employees working 4 days a week for 10 hours a day instead of 8 hours a day. And some companies are logging 3 days a week for 13 hours a day. Sounds enticing, but the employees are already complaining about burnout. Work 13 hours on Monday, recuperate on Tuesday, only to start it all over again on Wednesday. Employees are encouraged to stay 6 feet apart, maintaining that social distance at work. They're also mandated to wear a mask for the full 8 hours in the office. The company made arrangement to put plexiglass between every cubicle, and the cleaning service that normally comes in the night after everyone is gone home are now cleaning the office twice a day in the daytime. That's an expense that the company does not seem to mind. The company said that they're bringing everyone back in the office because they fear that sensitive data would be breached when people work remotely. And they also want people in the office to answer the phones and to get the mail and to monitor the shipping supplies and to go to the bank, etc., etc., and blah. Before the lockdown, everyone was okay with going to work every day because this was the norm for many, many years. 2 hours commute one way was a way of life for some. In recent years, some companies introduced flexi-time, which allows people to work from home once every 3 months in a year. And most people were basically fine with it. In the past, there seemed to be a stigma with working from home because it was designed mostly for low-paying minimum wage jobs such as data entry clerks and customer service reps. Now, that stigma has changed as many are realizing the benefits gained from working remotely. For those who are working from home and will not be called back to the office anytime soon, They should not be getting too comfortable. Employers can track their working progress by purchasing apps that monitors their efficiency. It would be nice to let the employees know that this is happening, but employers are not legally binded to do so. Protoscore, an employee visibility software company, announced that there was a surge in the number of users to 30,000 with a sudden shift to remote work in 2020. CNBC did an interview with the CEO of Protoscore, Sam Nafisi, and this is what he had to say about their software.
As a C-level employee or colleague myself, as a person, I've always been very fearful of employees being remote. I've always wanted them in the office. I wanted to look at them, feel them. I'm a very tactile leader, I think, and I wanted that. And I was always uncomfortable. Are they working? How do we assess them working? And this has comforted me. And a lot of CEOs I talk to that are using the product now, it's comforting them that they are actually getting activity and productivity from their staff while being remote.
He says, how can you assess them when they're not in the office? Is this the reason why the sales of their software skyrocketed during the lockdown? Here is an interview between CNBC's Eric Shimmy and a senior vice president of Vonage, Reggie Scales. His claim is that the software boosted productivity and that it's a good thing when the employees know that they're being watched.
One example of a company that uses Protoscore is Vonage.
I've recently, in the last year, pre-pandemic, gone to a virtual sales force because of the capabilities with Protoscore.
Was there ever any pushback from employees that are like, oh, I don't like that you're tracking everything. This feels a little too big brothery?
You know, of course, it depends. But again, that always depends on who, in sales, if you want to be victim, you can always play the victim, right?
Right.
Guys who go out and get things done are those who use these tools for their advantage. And they know we're watching, which is always good.
It leads one to wonder, who is watching these people who are implementing these applications? In that broadcast, CNBC had a long list of software companies that have employee visibility type software that are able to track employees on their computer. I'm not going to go through that list in this video, but I will leave the link to that video below. Are you worried yet? Well, that depends on which side of the fence you are on. It is worth noting that the software works on computers whether you are working from home or not. Here is an article from Forbes, written by Tom Spiegel. He said that employers can monitor their employees if done right, but that of course is up for debate. He said that employers may keep track of what employees type, record their internet activities, take screenshots, use the device as a webcam, note which employees access what files and when, monitor an employee's physical location using GPS, and measure the computer's idle time and how long an app is open. I saw a video floating around the other day advising people on how to start a successful day working from home. They said that you should start by putting on your clothes. You should replace pajamas and bathrobes with those clothes you would normally wear for work. They said that you should take your 1-hour lunch, but you should not endeavor to do any household chores. They also recommend that you should avoid any private contact with friends and family during the work hours. They said the psychological effect is creating a work attitude of concentration. That video was put out by a company, so you should know whose interests they have at heart.